Welcome to the second video in the kivyMD tutorial series. So in our previous episode, we learned how to add a label to a screen. So today's agenda will be adding a button and then an input field. But before we get started, let me just correct the position of this label. So I want it to be horizontally centered. To do that, there's a property called the H align. Sounds like horizontal align to me. To be center. Okay. Yeah. So now let's move on to adding buttons to application. Okay, so implementing buttons and then input fields have some slight difference compared to label. So we cannot just return them like how we did here. We have to add them to a screen and then return the screen. So first we have to import the screen from kivyMD.uix.screen. Yeah. We have to import the screen. Okay, so I'm going to create an instance or an object of that screen. Great. It's supposed to be a capital S. Okay, my intentions are wrong. And return the screen. But before that, let's store our label. Let me turn the screen. What did I do wrong? Indentation. Wow. So the add widget is adding something to the object or instance we are returning. So returning the screen, we are going to also return everything in that screen. So it's going to look exactly as before, except I'm getting an error. Sorry, it's MD, not MB. Okay, as I said. So we imported our button right here. Let's also create an object of that and then add it to the screen so that we can also return that. So submit. Okay. So now we have to add the button to the screen so that it can be displayed. Okay. Okay. So that's a button right here. Let's move that also to the middle. Okay. Around this position. So in the button, we can actually use the property H align and V align. Okay. If you don't know, V align is vertical align and H align is horizontal align. So H align center, V align middle. Instead, we have to use the post hints, like position hints. and then you pass in a dictionary. So center Y and center X. The distance from the center, the middle of the screen, or the center of Y to wherever your object is supposed to be. And it ranges from 0 to 1. 0.5 is in the middle, 1 is all the way up, and 0 is at the bottom. Okay. So you can see our button is on top of our label since they're all at the same position. So I want to drop it on the y-axis a little bit down, 0.03. Yes. If I'm dropping it by 3, 0.0. Come on. Okay. So now let's look at another type of button we have. The MD raised button. So let's replace the flats. Let's replace the MD flats button with MD raised button. Okay. That's the raised button. Let's implement the input field, and I want us to have some purpose of implementing it. So I just want us to create an application where you can enter your name, right? And then you hit submit, and then you get your name printed downwards or something. Okay, so let's import our input field. Okay, so from kivyMD text field, yes. So from kivyMD.ux text field, we are importing the MD text field. So let's create an instance of the input field and then put it to our screen. So let me add an underscore and MD text field. Okay. So now let's add our text field to the screen too. Okay, so let's take a look. Great. So I kind of want to replace or let's not replace it. Okay, let's put it in between those two and change this to enter your name, right? So and now we have to set the position of our text field. Okay. For that, we can also use the H aligned or the V aligned. It's supposed to be the position hence. The input field, the instance of it. The position hence is a property. Okay. Okay, so it's still going to overlap, and okay, so this should drop to, and this should drop to 4. I think that will change it. Oh, still the button. Okay, okay, good. Back to our instance here of the input field or the MD text field. You can actually set the placeholder using hint text. That's what's called hint text, and it's supposed to be something. So that text, this text right here, is going to be the placeholder. Yeah, as you can see. Let's make this an instance variable. Okay, so where there was label, so here it's supposed to be self. That it's still the same thing, nothing changed. Okay, so let's create a function to handle the click event of the button. Okay, so we pass the self. Okay, so passing the self allows us to access the instance variables, and okay, so the click, when you click on a button, or when you are handling events in Kivy or kivyMD, the event actually pass a second parameter, or a second argument, which is the instance of the event, the event target. So here we're clicking on a button, so it's passed the instance of that button as a second argument. Okay, or parameter, it's an argument. Okay, so instance, and we can print that instance just to be sure. Great. I think my indentations are wrong. How can my indentation be wrong? Okay, so now handling events, we have the on press and then on release. I kind of like the on press. They all follow the same principle or methodology. So we have the on press. There's supposed to be an underscore here. Okay, on press. So on press, I want to call a function or a method. Okay, and the method happens to be in the same class, and it's called the click underscore. So it's self the click underscore. Okay, great. Let me hide this and format this. Great. So now we can save and run application. Okay, so now look down here, and you see the instance being printed. Okay, so there we go. So now we have the instance being passed by Kivy itself, not us. So the text is actually going to give us a text in it. So my name is Peniel. Hey, that submit. Oh, yes. No, my text. Sorry. We actually want, we don't want the button instance. We actually want the input field. Okay. So actually the input field is supposed to be this, or should be an instance variable so that we can also access it right in the function or the method. So where is the input? Right here. So great. So now we are not even using the instance of the button, but now we have access to the input, right? So we can print the input. So self that input that text. Okay, so moment of truth. Self that input underscore is not defined. Line 13. Yeah, it's supposed to be self. I think I overlooked that one. Okay, so there's another one down below it. Oh, okay. I think that's all. Yeah, that's all. Okay. Shit. Sorry. So let's look down in our terminal right here. Oh, it's now a console, so okay, so now we have the text. So now what I want to do is, instead of writing enter your name, I'm going to write welcome, whatever the name was. Right? So whenever we click on it, we are not actually printing it. We are going to assign it to something else, and that is going to be the self.label. So self.label dot text is supposed to be the self.input dot text. But let me add something else to it. Welcome. Okay, so Peniel. Welcome, Peniel. There we go. It's been a wonderful run with you guys. If you have any comments, make sure you write it down there. And before you leave, like and subscribe to this channel.